G'day everyone, Happy New Year's to you all. Hope you had a safe and happy New Year. Hopefully 2022 is going to be a better year than 21. Anyway, let's talk about this plant. This plant here, these two specimens here, they're called the Fockea Edulis. It comes from South Africa. From Namibia. It's a caudex form. Normally in its natural habitat you wouldn't see the caudex that much. This swollen part you might be able to see, say, up to that. Most of it's underground. The only reason you see the root system and the caudex a lot more is because of just to show it off, just to show off the caudex. I've just moved these plants into these pots, when was it? I think yeah, it was late winter last year. They like well-drained soil. They do well in bonsai pots, but also too those you've actually got to every so often got to pull them out and trim the roots, because as you can see on this one, the roots are fairly long. Yes, so their dormant period is winter time, and their growing period is from spring all the way through to autumn. These plants are dioecious, in other words they are male and female. One plant can be a male and the other plant can be a female. These two plants I do not know. This one I've had the longest. I've had this one since 2005, and the other plant there I've had for since 2006. So they're fairly old. They have flowered, but they've never produced seed pods. The tuber can actually grow up to about 2 feet, and the branches are vine-like, which can grow up to about 13 feet. They like well-drained soil, and the best time to water is in its growing period, but just wait for it to dry out. Normally water these after, say, 5 days, but don't let it dry out too much, or else the caudex will start to shrivel. And during the winter time, just water it sparingly, not as much. This is actually about to produce flowers. You can't see them at the moment, but if you look closely, these are the flower buds here. The thing is, this plant here produces flowers early in summer, where this plant here produces flowers a bit later. So I'm not really sure. They say normally to tell between a male and female plant is, they say that the flowers are whitish or yellowish for a female, and for a male they are a light green. They do lose their leaves in winter time, semi-deciduous, so they retain some of the leaves, but like at the moment now, come spring, the old leaves, they tend to shed them and they're producing new growth. Like, I think that's one of the old leaves. Yeah, as you can see, it's starting to turn yellow. And ideal plants to have, easy to grow. The fertilizer that to use to encourage the caudex growth is nitrogen, because with the low potassium, and they reckon blood meal is ideal because it's high in nitrogen and very low in potassium. These are terrific specimens. So yeah, Fockea Edulis. I would say they're pretty fast grower in the right conditions, but really in a way, look, if you're gonna, so these plants are outside, and I do shade them from the full, like from afternoon sun. They do get a bit of the morning sun, and then after that it's filtered. Because what happens is the roots will get burnt and they'll rot, and you'll lose a plant that way. And like they say, this plant loves well-drained soil. It doesn't want to have wet feet, or else it'll start to rot. You can't take cuttings from this to propagate it. The only thing you can, but it's really hard, you know, but from seed it's fairly easy. They can tolerate certain temperatures. Ideal conditions is roughly around about 20 Celsius, but they can tolerate cold, but nothing below zero. I do like these plants. They are unique in their own way. I think in the Fockea family there's about 6 different species in the family, and this is one of them. Actually, in South Africa, the local, well, the native people use the caudex as food. It is edible, but you have to process the caudex, and it takes roughly around about 7 hours to process it before you can actually eat it. And Edulis in the Greek, Latin, is actually edible. Edulis means edible in Latin. So yes, you can see it's the vines are growing, a nice lush green. And where they normally grow, if there's a bush alongside of it, the vines will actually climb up around it, so they can handle full sun, unless the plants, the caudex, is in the ground and the top part of the caudex is shaded by the canopy, so it'll cope with that type of conditions. But with, like I said, with the roots exposed, it can't tolerate it. It just get too hot and die. But they are lovely specimens there. You can see how big the caudex is. That's what I normally do. I normally give it a bit of a squeeze to see whether it needs water. If you give it a squeeze, it gives you an idea that it needs water, and you can actually see the growth. It's starting to expand. So like I said, if you wanted to get a growth in the caudex, give them a blood meal and slowly water that in, and it'll push a lot more into the caudex, and I suppose into the root system too. I'm hoping these roots will swell up even more so. But yeah, part of the root system is starting to die because a lot of the roots are sucker roots. But whatever's in the soil at the moment will actually throw those new sucker roots to take the place of the ones that I've exposed. Yeah, I've never, like I said, I've never had this plant flower before. I'm not sure. I'll have to just check this summer and see what the flowers look like. I might have 2 males or 2 females. Who knows? Maybe because this not a mature plant and it's only just coming to flower a lot more than this one here. It might be a female, and normally in its natural habitat, the insect that normally pollinates this plant are fruit flies. So yeah, I'll have to go and get some fruit and keep it next to it while it's flowering, so we can encourage fruit flies to come over to pollinate this plant. Or maybe I might pollinate it myself with a paintbrush just to see. But I enjoy watching these grow, and was amazed when I actually pulled them out of the pot. Actually, this one here, it was actually bursting the pot. The pot was about to split. The root system was actually pushing it that much. And this one here, I had plenty of room. The root system wasn't that bad. Yeah, so this is my Fockea Edulis from South Africa. The caudex part of the caudex family. Actually reminds me more of a Boab tree, a miniature version. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and If you've got any comments, or leave them in the comments below, and also too, like always, we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.